when they said it was gonna release, because it came in, it like showed up in stores. You know what I'm saying? But
they announced Skyrim the right way too. They did Skyrim well. Checkity check.
The cord go on the left or the right?
It's up to you, man.
This is
it's
my
not
left.
up to you. The cord goes on the left.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your left. Like if you were listening
That's
to something
what I
that's
thought.
directional audio.
Because I have that issue whenever I play fucking video games, and
Cord
I
always
have
goes on the left.
I have to
Oh,
like,
shit.
because it's important with video games because you got to be able to hear shit from the right angle. Listen to the pop. Hold on.
Especially competitive
Listen to
games.
the pop.
Ooh.
Hope that got it.
Oh,
Trying to get the mic in there.
Damn.
You smell the cork? Is that like wine? Is that a thing?
Like, yep, that smells like whiskey.
Whew.
What's the
There she is.
horsepower on that one?
What's the horsepower on
You
that
don't
one?
remember on the Redemption, man?
Whew, let her in.
What is it? 45?
It's 108 proof. So 54%.
Oh, the horsepower on that one.
45 backwards.
Whew.
54.1, my bad.
Care if I get a slushki.
No, not at all, man. Only if you meet me. I don't know.
I actually really like the Redemption. I'm gonna take a swig too.
Yeah.
I like never take shots. But out of all the whiskeys you've got, Paul, Redemption's my favorite.
So
And it goes
There
down
she is.
smooth.
There she is.
legitimately, I couldn't find it anywhere in the city that we live in. So I went.
Don't
to,
pull up the skirt on that one. You'll be surprised.
I went to.
Jesus.
I went to a local liquor store, and I was like, "Hey,"
It's got some dick.
it's like, "Hey, man, can you get me some Redemption 9-year age?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll get it for you." I go up there like a month later. He still doesn't have it. So then I was like, "Hey, you told me you were gonna get me that Redemption, bro." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll get it for you." So then I wait like 6 months, or maybe like 4 or 5 months,
Do you see that right now?
and then
Look at how hard that shit is. I wish you were back behind the camera, Paul. You could zoom in. My nipple is so fucking hard right now after that. Sorry, continue.
You're good. Like
Nice.
4 months later, I go there for Blake's bachelor party, and I asked the same dude. I was like, "Did you finally get it?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. It's like right over there." I'm like, "Thanks, dude. Thank you."
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Dude, it sits with you. Like I can feel it in my stomach right now.
It holds your hand.
Yeah.
It holds your hand on a sweet summer day, walking through the park with your mom.
You and me
God,
gonna
I
go
can't do
walking
it.
in the moonlight.
I've been watching way too much of that Irish People Try Shit, which is an amazing channel. I don't want to shout out a channel that...
That's the name of the channel. Irish people try shit.
I think it's just called Try? No, I can't even think of it. It's a YouTube channel I've been really fucking into. Because Irish people are probably the coolest fucking people ever. Maybe it's people I emulate. I attempt to emulate it. I might have a little Irish, little Scottish in my blood from all the red.
You are
Paul,
ginger.
you got some red in you too, man.
I'm more red than you are, dude.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies. I'm just allowing you guys into our inner circle, the three of us, the circle that we have. You're now allowed.
So hard to get in this inner circle, man.
This is like a line.
Just kidding. Anyone who's watched Talk Junkies, you're always allowed in this inner circle. But anyways, welcome to Talk Junkies, motherfuckers. Joining the club.
What kind of intro is this?
Jamaican?
All right.
I don't know, man, but thank you guys for tuning in. It's always a blessing to have our hardcore and passionate junkies, Talk Junkies out there that are joining the show. Welcome to anyone who has never watched Talk Junkies. Thank you for joining. Johnny, Jesse, what the fuck's going on?
I don't know, man. We came into this one pretty dry. I was on the phone for a while. Maybe you guys talked about topics and all that stuff. I don't know.
No. We,
Not at all.
All that's under control, so don't worry. I just want to do a few things before we actually start the
Okay.
podcast. Last week we mentioned John Kleizak joined the show. Again, it's 2 podcasts ago. Watch the podcast. We got Mike Anderson up here.
Are you just trying to shout him out again?
No, I'm just-
because
no,
we
No,
want
it was
some
a good
response from him?
podcast. No, it was a
No.
good podcast.
No, we love the podcast.
No.
What
I'm
I'm just
saying-
trying to shout him out again
No.
to where we can get some.
What I'm saying is we have a
Feedback
couple
from?
authors that have joined our show, and I think that I really respect the 2 authors that we've had on. So what I'm saying is get on Amazon, look for Mike Anderson's book, look for John Kleizak's book, and order those books, man. Because if you guys have listened to our podcast, and we've had 4 or 5 with Mike, just tune into that, man. Get Mike's book, read it. It's really prevalent in today and what's happening with tribalism and stuff like
The
that.
tribalism one hits home right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah, it does. And before we hit into that, I think we can add our email, Johnny, to our about page. And it's just talkjunkieskc@gmail.com. And for any of our hardcore listeners, people who listen each and every single week and listen to the podcast, if you email me your shirt size and your address just to the Talk Junkies email, I will send you a Talk Junkies shirt on me. I will buy it for you. You got just all you have to do is send me the size and your address for any of our hardcore subscribers. And if you live in the same town as us and you listen every week, just holler at me, okay? I'm saying for people who don't live where we live, I will purchase you a Talk Junkie shirt. That way you guys can wear it.
Nice.
And I greatly appreciate that you guys tune in each and every single week. And that's the least I could do for you is provide you with a shirt with our 3 beautiful faces.
I feel like we need to do like some kind of contest because I wear this tank top so much during this. I feel like we need to get it to a guest who watches it so much. Because at some point somebody's going to be like, dude, that's the same podcast. And I won't watch this. Because this dude wears this tank top.
Well, Johnny and I are wearing something different. No one wants your tank top, Jesse.
Yeah.
No, I don't wash it. I don't wash it.
Nobody wants that.
It's like the bath water thing. No, nobody wants that.
Oh, Belle Delphine's
All right.
bathwater.
Nobody wants that.
No one wants it. They want a Talk Junkies fucking T-shirt, man.
Okay.
And that's what you're gonna
All right.
get. If
Yeah,
you-
I'll put
my
the
clothing.
email in the about section and the description and all that. And Paul, we'll talk about it later, but it should be it should be a different email. and
Also,
I'll explain
please,
why later.
please, if you're gonna email me, put
What?
what your username is under YouTube. That way, I know if it's legit or not, and I will, like I said, legitimately send you a
Are
T-shirt.
buttons still a thing? Do
What?
people wear buttons?
What, you want me to get a button up?
I have a-
No,
Junkies
no,
shirt?
like buttons, like buttons.
I have a couple of buttons on my Chiefs.
Yeah, you can
hoodie.
still do buttons. Yeah,
buttons,
Yeah.
patches.
sure.
We need to look into it.
I got buttons on my my Chiefs one. I got those great ones that you got me with like the, what was it, the Stranger Things? Was that you? Or did I just make fun of someone else's Christmas gift?
No, that was in your stocking.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
in
yeah.
your stocking that I got.
Then
for
that's
you.
fine if it's in
Which,
a stocking.
dude, stocking gifts are supposed to be
Yeah.
super.
Yeah,
Stocking gifts.
candy or coal or whatever.
You gave me the what was it? The now.
Oh,
Now-
like now 27?
Yeah,
or,
now 20. It was. I
No, it
was
had to
about
be more than
come
that.
up
It was
with
like 97. Now
yeah, it was
97.
like crazy number, which is still
Now
unwrapped.
it's still going, man. Now it's still going. Still wrapped up. I don't.
What's
yeah.
their
No, not wrapped up. I didn't bust it open.
What's
but
their stock looking like now?
Do they have
I
one?
don't know. I don't know, man.
There's no way they're publicly traded.
Hey, so we sat outside for probably an hour.
You don't know that.
We sat outside for probably an hour and a half, and we talked about a lot of different subjects. And I think it's refreshing for me to jump into a podcast after we've gotten the minds fresh. We've had good conversation, and something that sparked my mind, Jesse, was towards the end of the conversation when we were outside, how we started talking about each and every own person have their own morality. And I think that it's a good way to open up the podcast with everything that's going on in the world right now, especially here in the Western states, or the Western civilization, the United States. Sorry, it's insane right now. I mean, people are legitimately scared to actually speak their own mind because they're afraid of the repercussions. People are getting, people are losing their jobs based upon something they said 10 years ago. I mean, there's just so much cancel culture that's going on right now. How you explained it outside was actually very beautiful, and I think if people can take what you say and not necessarily apply it 100%, but just understand that we're all here.
Okay. So, man, I was being really goofy for a while, and now I have to get serious because this is something I take really seriously. So, looking at any individual ever, you have to ask yourself, are they unique? Or am I unique in some way? And whenever you get down to it, you find out that all of these people who have ever lived are completely unique individuals, not only given genetics, but
Upbringing.
given yes, their life experience in whatever linear order that brought them to who they are right now. So you have this this extremely unique person, and my whole thing is how is their morality not unique as well along with them? So if you're like, oh man, everybody's unique, everybody is their own input, well, that has to do with morality as well. So morality is basically what you think is right or wrong. I know a bunch of people like argue, well, you have the bullshit like fundamental, well, if you murder somebody, that's bad. Yeah, that's just the most basic frontline idea of what morality is. But then it becomes misconstrued and people start thinking differently. And as opposed to getting into the specific things that I was talking about whenever we were outside, I just want people to grasp this one thing, that you have to understand that you are unique. Your morality is also unique along with you, because the only way that you have your morality is because of what has happened to you throughout your life. So you need to not look at other people as though they're fucking idiots, or, man, look at this stupid motherfucker thinking this way. You have not lived in their shoes long enough to really be able to grasp where they're coming from. So there needs to be this, and I think this is the big problem, is the general lack of understanding of where other individuals come from within their ideas or their morals, or why they're against this or why they're for this. We get so caught up in what we think is right, and it seems so right to us, right? Like, whatever, I could name you so many things. Like, I go off on this podcast all the time about religion. Like, and maybe I need to, like, calm down some things. I'm sure if I were to go back and, like, practice what you preach kind of thing, go back and listen to myself, I'd probably be a little upset at what I'm saying right now, because it wouldn't line up. And I'd be like, man, you're being a little too harsh on these individuals because you never lived their life and you don't know the experience that they're going through. So I don't want to be judged too harshly, even though I definitely can, given what I'm about to say right now about this. But us as a culture is so caught up in, this is what's right to me, this is what makes sense, so anybody else who thinks differently than me is a complete fucking idiot, or, man, I'm completely against them, when you need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, that everybody lives a different life. Everybody's completely uniquely different, which is amazingly beautiful if you really get down to it. It's what makes people special, is this factor. And you shouldn't hate on them for having a different moral belief than you, because man, I'm getting off track now. I already had the whiskey's already hitting me. It's because you did not live the life that they lived, and you need to have that understanding that everything's a little fickle in humanity, and you need to be more accepting of other people's ideas. Basically, I was not ready for that question, Paul.
I'm
I hope
sorry,
I
man.
handled it well.
No, that was that. You
I
actually
hope I
did.
handled it
Man,
well.
you did a great job of explaining that. And that's all beautiful, beautiful points.
And one thing I've learned in doing the podcast, we've been doing it for 2 years and a few months now, and just having disagreements with both of you within having this podcast, man. Especially early on when we really didn't know each other. Johnny, especially.
Yeah,
we didn't know.
Paul and I got into a big one. Like, we argue kind of a little bit once in a while on this podcast. It's pretty rare, but once in a while it'll get slightly heated. We've had huge arguments outside, like legitimate arguments.
We have.
We're still friends. We're still.
And that's one thing that this podcast has taught me. And I don't think that we've really ever talked about it on the podcast on what Jesse just described. And again, it's literally haunting America right now, because everyone's beliefs are so, I mean, like you said, if you don't agree with what I agree with,
fuck you.
Exactly. And that is completely against who we are and what we are and how this country has been built.
In the world, not just this country.
This world, yes, I'm sorry, this world, and maybe not even how it was built, but if we want to progress as a civilization or even as a world, then that's something that we have to understand, man. We can't keep feeding into what we're feeding into, because it's literally ruining people's lives. It's literally it's dumbing us down. Having John on 2 weeks ago, I think that plays a big part into it, is how you just played it out. We got to do something, man. We got to do something, and I think it starts right there. It truly does, because you can't go out to the grocery store and get in a disagreement with someone, because it's literally not going to be beneficial, because we've forgotten how to have conversations with each other. We forgot how to understand that your morality is different than my morality. but you know what? It's okay. We've gotten away from that.
So many times, people's morality will step into other people's morality, and they think of it bigger. And I needed, like, my morality always is very much focused upon if you're not harming anyone else and you have an opinion about something, you should be able to have that opinion. But so many other people's morality is so hung up on, well, you can't have this opinion than mine. And this is very hard for me, but I'm trying to understand it. Like, I have an opinion, but it differs. This group of people, they're not harming anyone, but they have a different opinion than mine, and I need to shut these people down, or I can't allow them to do their thing. This is a big struggle for me, and I don't know if I don't want to call people out like that in any kind of specific way, but that personally bothers me. But I'm also trying to understand their morality at the same time, because you talked about, like, in the beginning, you got to practice what you preach kind of thing, and understand people's morality is different, to where they needed to be shaped exactly how they seem fit, and I just can't get that.
I think that a lot of people see it as when someone has a different code in life, a different morality, a different set of guidelines that they live by or that they believe in. When someone has a different one than them, they see it as a personal attack or an affront towards them. Like, if other people out here in the world exist, and those other people who exist don't believe in the same things that I do, then all of a sudden it makes mine less worthwhile, because there's so many people who believe in different stuff, and we need to all get on the same page. I need to convince other people to page. What did I say? Page? We all need to get on the same page.
Is that a Pokemon?
Yeah. Anyways, that they have this view that we all need to get on the same page, and that if I can't convince other people to see the world the same way that I see it, then the way I see it is wrong, or I've failed, or it's like they're attacking me. When it doesn't need to be like that. You have to, like what you said earlier about individualism and uniqueness, is you have to realize that other people in the world are different than you. They believe differently than you, and that's okay. And we need to try to get past that. And I'm trying to, once again, like you said, understand the people who don't feel the same way that I do about that.
This is when I start getting into when action needs to be, like, taken place. Is you can believe in something and have morality and say that I personally won't do this. Well, that's great. Don't do it then. You've spoken out about it enough. We're all completely convinced you won't do X, right? But then another group of people are doing X, and you go, oh my God, this group of people is doing X. Not the drug.
I thought we were really talking about X for a second. I was like,
variable.
that's a good morality.
I'm just trying, without actually naming something
variable X,
to where somebody would get upset at it. Yeah. I'm just giving you a very blank statement of X or Y or Z, whatever. So somebody's doing Z.
You can say X. They got it, not the drug. Okay.
So somebody's doing X, and oh my God, I'm so upset that they're doing X because I would never do X. That's when I have a fucking problem with it. I'm like, well, that's not their morality. And that's the big difference, is your morality says you will never do this. We get it. You will never do this. You're on Facebook. We know how much you won't do this.
Your opinions, your opinions out there to the world.
We get it. You won't do this. We clearly know you won't do this. Why are you attacking these people for doing this? Because they have a different opinion than you. What you're saying at that point, is what bothers me so much, is that you have it right. You have it ultimately right. I have had this issue so much of my life, especially from the way that I grew up, is that an individual who says, oh man, I have it right, ends up fucking being some kind of wrong and causing some fucking problems when you try to shape other people based upon your shit. I'm gonna go off on a weird thing here. It doesn't work. If your morality, you don't do something, then don't fucking do it. If their morality and they're not harming anyone, you cannot fuck with them for doing that. You have to come to the realization, and man, once again, this is my morality. So it's almost kind of like a catch-22,
No, it's weird.
right?
It's weird.
It's a little bit of a catch-22 because I'm talking about my morality right now, which can be argued in the same sense that you shouldn't do it. And you shouldn't be able to fuck with other people for believing differently than you and impose your beliefs upon them. But once again, this is simply just one of my morals. And I could be completely wrong on that, right?
I think that there has to be a basis, though. There has to be a basis, and I think that that's what the United States was founded upon, was that everyone could have their own morality, this melting pot of different people and different, all this different stuff going on, and everyone can do that at the same time without there being too big of an issue. That's the basis of the United States, is that you can have those groups that can do X, and then you can have that person who doesn't want to do X, and you know what? That's okay, because we're in the United States. We're an established country. That's just the basis. But now, for some reason, we've strayed away from that, and it's like when we've had Mike on, you have this tribalism going on, like we discussed outside, and it's actually affecting the whole country as a population, with these riots happening and with racism that's going on, and how people are portraying that.
All that just happens naturally, right? Like-minded individuals like hanging out with people with the same beliefs as them. You don't like hanging out with somebody that shits on, I really like Stranger Things, but I don't hang out with a bunch of people that just talk shit. This is such a weird fucking example.
No, I brought this
Jesus
up
Christ.
outside with a different example that I'm not going to say right now.
Probably a better fucking example, but you can't hang out with somebody I really enjoy fucking playing fucking video games, and I really want to talk about video games, and then hang out with a group of fucking people who are like, video games are evil. Video games are the fucking devil. You don't hang out with those people. You like being around like-minded individuals.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Because you end up feeling at home, and you're able to allow those layers to go away, and you feel more like yourself because you're able to be more comfortable around those people.
That's the basis.
So
I don't think it's your morality what you're talking about. I think that that's what everyone's understanding of living here in the United States.
I think the part where morality comes into that, though, is that there's nothing wrong with that, and you should be able to do that. And that's how we function as people. Like, we're friends because we have similar interests and similar moralities. They slightly vary. Yours is different than mine, is different than Jesse's. They're all different.
Like, if you were to line it up, we're probably like 80% away across the board. Like, we're not like...
Yeah.
If we lined up differently to where we 80% disagree, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Yeah, we're probably 80% in common, and the 20% is all different between us.
Exactly.
And that's fine. So that's why we hang out. And there's other people that, I'm not friends with and I don't hang out with because we have differences, and it makes no sense. You can't be friends with everybody, and you can't get along with everybody. But the big difference is I'm not going to attack those people because they have a different view than me, or they're like, man, I hate video games. Video games cause violence and blah, 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 blah. And I can, amongst my own friends as a joke, be like, man, that's dumb. I think they're stupid, obviously as a joke. But at the same time, respect and acknowledge the fact that they have their opinions for a reason, unbeknownst to me. Something happened during their upbringing and during their life to cause them to have those beliefs. And guess what? I may disagree with them. I may think it's crazy and ridiculous. I may look at scientific studies and a whole bunch of stuff that says that's absolutely absurd. But you know what? They're allowed to have those beliefs because they're unique individuals just like me who have their own thing going on.
So in the inverse, literally, our crazy, ridiculous shit that we say is only because of the life that we've lived in our genetics and everything that's led us up to this fucking moment. That's when I talk about we're a little fickle, and you have to realize, and I think it's healthy. I don't think it's this, like, it is a little bit of separation of ego, too, at the same time. To not just be this, like, oh, man, I fucking have this right. I fucking figured it out, goddammit.
You can't be like that and live healthily, I don't think.
If you separate from the ego, once again, this is just my opinion, you separate from the ego a little bit and realize how fickle that not only you are as a person, but everyone else is, then you're able to understand each other a little bit more. And you're able to have a little bit more respect for other people, especially when somebody has a different view than you. And you can't just go and fucking shit on them. There have been so many studies of people who like, oh, super argumentative, super intelligent minds on both sides of an argument, they end up just walking away with more strengthened in their own opinion, right? That's because of you can't change their fucking past. If you had an argument that could literally go back and erase some fucking memories of their fucking childhood, then maybe you might be able to change their fucking mind. That's not how it fucking works. So we need to get along a little bit better. And it's not like we're arguing super intense morality, like whether or not people should be like killed or not in mass because of some shit. Everybody knows that's bad.
I was actually going to get into that. I was going to get into that in just a second.
I'd prefer you to get into it. I'd prefer you to get into it.
What I was going to say about this, and it's weird, but we're talking about morality, and when we're talking about it here, we're talking about little differences between people, little tiny things here and there. There's this overwhelming morality that we have as a general society and as a people that I believe we all agree on, and that's about like murder and other things like this. And it's sad that, man, I'm trying to think how to word this and piece this together. It is sad that the times when Americans have come together the most and come together as a nation and been prideful and been like, yes, let's do this, let's fight evil, is, for example, World War II, when Nazis were killing Jews left and right and there was this massive genocide going on, the Holocaust, everything else. And it's like this greater evil brought us all together and made us forget these little tiny morality differences because we obviously all agree on this big morality that is wrong. And what I would like to see is for us not to have another war, not to have another genocide, not to have something tragic bring us together, but for us to have that mentality of, hey, look what we did during this. We put all our little tiny not mattering differences aside and came together as a people who can just be around each other and work together. And let's do that without a tragedy, without a genocide, without some massive cause for alarm. Can we just put these little tiny things to the wayside and be like, man, you believe in something slightly different than I believe in, and that's okay. We'll hang out on Tuesdays, but I really don't like you that much. That's about it. We're not going to hang out all the time. We're not friends, and that's okay.
Do you think that, and maybe not even do you think, but it was that way for such a long time, right? I don't know what it was like in the 70s or 80s on what morality was like back in those times or even the 90s, but I think
9/11 was the biggest thing that brought everybody together.
That too.
So
for sure. In our generation,
he's 100% right.
No, I agree.
It takes some massive travesty to happen.
What I'm saying is it would be even harder to make it happen even more so due to the fact that technology and social media plays the biggest part in that. Because you have social justice warriors and people who get online, and I, including myself, sometimes in the past, I've gotten on there and I've thought of something super sexy that I thought in my head was like, man, this is going to change the world. This is awesome. Like, if everyone could just step on board with this, like, it would change everything. I think social media plays a big part into morality because you're allowed to have a different morality within the social media aspect.
I think social media plays a big part into getting our morality out there because we're allowed to hide under a veil of anonymity or anonymously get our ego out there. I think social networking is more of an ego thing than a morality thing, personally. I think it lets you get the morality out there, but it's part of your ego saying, hey, look, I'm able to put my views out here and nobody can stop me from putting my views out here. As to where if you were to put those same views out on the street publicly to a person who disagreed with you 5 feet from you, you might get in a fist fight.
Right.
But that doesn't happen on Facebook.
Right.
You get in a fight over words that who cares?
Yeah.
So I feel like Facebook plays into the ego side thing, or social networking in general, not just Facebook, all of them, play into the ego side more than the morality thing. And as far as the whole travesty thing, and I feel like we have a little bit of that going on right now in the United States. But
we're not coming together this time.
But parts are and parts aren't.
Right.
There are times when we were. There were some riots and going on where a lot of people were on the same page. Yes, there were people against it. There were people for it. But a lot of people were on the same page about, man, some stuff has to stop. Some stuff has to change, it's just I'd like, man, and this is just me speaking from like who cares? This is just my opinion, but it would be amazing if we were able to achieve that without travesty, and I think that's my personal goal. Like I would love for that to be a goal of other people, but other
You
people can
can't
do
do
whatever
that.
they
What
want.
the fuck are you talking about?
No, I know
If
that.
you're talking about a personal goal, well, then you just start.
I'm saying that's my personal goal for like other people, which I can't push on to other people. But it's my hope that we can come together as people without the travesty,
Too many people focus on the
without this greater evil that we have to combine against. Like, man, if aliens attacked, us in China would get along immediately. Aliens attack the whole world, all the countries unite, and we go against the aliens. My thing is that we should be able to do that as a people without that greater evil.
There's
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's the biggest
So-
thing. That's
so,
the biggest question.
Man, I feel like I get into this a lot with the podcast. I talk about shopping carts whenever it comes down to this.
Don't
Treat
do
other
it.
people like you want to be
Don't
treated.
do it.
Anybody who's listening to this right now, I want you to think of absolutely what you are in control of. And if you really get down to it, you're only in control of yourself. So there,
And
all
nothing
this
else.
outside shit that's happening. Don't be worried by it. Don't be discouraged by it. You have the greatest thing any person could ever have, which is what any person has ever had, is the control of their own life and how you can, not what's handed to you, but how you handle what's handed to you and how you respond to it. So it's about being a good person for me. It's about being polite, not being so judgmental all the time, which is so bad in our country right now. People are so
We all do it.
fucking
We're guilty of it
judgmental.
too. To act like we're
Yeah.
not
So
guilty.
fucking judgmental,
Yeah.
man. Respect the other side a little bit, and man, just be nice. Realize that they're people too, and they came from.
I mean,
not your life, not your life. They didn't have to deal with your life. I know your life might be shit, and you might have a lot of fucking like pride in the amount of life that you've had. That's cool, man. That's cool.
There was.
I respect that. But you have to also respect everybody else's too at the same time.
I'm gonna lead off of that. There was an old. That's not an old saying. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. There's a saying people talk about like how respect is earned. Like you have to earn my respect. I've always, and once again, this is all just personal preference, personal morality.
Disagree with that.
I know, I do too.
Disagree with that
but
entirely.
you know what I'm talking about though, right? And I'm sure the viewers know what I'm talking about. Everybody in this room and people out there have probably heard, "Hey, you have to earn my respect," or "Respect is earned." You're saying you've never heard that?
No, you lose.
No,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah,
you're
of
saying
course.
you've never heard that?
No, I have.
Of
Not,
course you've
not,
heard that.
Not from any elder.
I know, but you've
Not
heard that
from any
before.
elder of my family.
The point is, you've heard that before, though. You've heard that saying.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
You can
Not-
disagree with it. That's fine. I do too. That's why I'm going to finish saying what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It was a simple. Jesus Christ, Jesse. It was a simple point. Is that you've probably heard that. Man, this is getting way more than it needed to be. All I'm saying is that I think it's
Me
the
and
opposite.
Johnny are gonna fucking dock before the end of the night.
Jesus. I was not going that direction at all.
He's in the polo. It'll work. It'll work.
We're on different fucking
Continue.
wavelengths right now,
Continue.
man.
Continue.
All right. I don't know how to finish it up with that. Jesus.
My bad.
What I was saying is that it shouldn't be that people have to earn your respect. When you meet an individual, when you meet a random person, they should not have to earn your respect. They're another human being. You should show them and give them respect. Can respect be taken away? Sure. Maybe they do something awful and they no longer have your respect because they have done something terrible. That's fine. But you do not treat someone differently because they haven't earned your respect or they haven't proven themselves to you.
'Cause
You
who
don't
the
know them
fuck
and
are
you don't
you?
know their life and you're not any
And
more
first of all,
important than
who
they
the
are.
fuck are you?
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
That's
You
the
should
fuck
show
are you?
everybody you meet respect.
I
And
think
respect
that
their
was-
opinions.
That was like the basis of, like I said at the very beginning of the podcast when I brought it up, and how it was so beautiful outside. And when we talked about it, it's
What?
beautiful. Like I think if, and again, Jesse, like you had pointed out, it's just our morality in this aspect of the podcast. But I think if we can all come to a basis of how we need to interact with each other, just to make it a better world, man. We all should never be afraid to say anything to someone or anyone, because the freedom of speech is so beautiful in this country, and I think it's slowly slipping away with the way that things are heading and the way that things are shaping out. We're slowly losing freedom of speech because people feel repressed on things that they can say, and even if they say those things and we don't like it, we don't have to listen to it, man. But it goes into the whole podcast of what we've talked about.
I was like equating it to the hat that you're wearing. You know what I mean? I talked about how whenever I go into work, I have to wear a certain hat. Me as a bartender, I have to, set some standards, and I can't say what I really want to say, and I have to almost like play like character like things. I don't know if this is the route that you want to go down right now, but this is the route that I'm going to go down.
It's like that has nothing to do with Paul's question, but it's a good point.
Yeah. Just, man, is it really that far off? Fuck, no, I feel bad.
You're good, man.
No, keep going. It's good. It's solid.
I talk about this, and every individual knows this. Like, if you go into work and you're in a scrutiny, Jesus Christ, you wear a certain hat and you perform a certain way, and that is not so much you, it's the vision that they want you to be, kind of thing. So you put on a certain hat for the day, is what I call it. There has been plenty of times in my line of work to where I've wanted to say things that were more close to my core of being, but I couldn't because I'm worried about this person getting pissed off and they could make my life worse. If I said these things at work and try to combat them on some things. So, but everybody has to deal with this. It's not just me. This isn't just, a me struggle. Everybody has to deal with this shit.
Everyone does, yeah. Every single day.
Is there an issue with like honesty throughout society to where people have to...
Not if you have to wear a hat.
No, I think that makes the issue. The fact that you have to wear a hat.
Because you have to wear the hat.
The fact that you wear a hat makes an issue with honesty.
But plenty of people succeed. Like, literally going, fuck you, I'm going to be who I am.
Yeah.
Going, I'm going to be who the fuck I am. I don't give a shit what the fuck you have to say about it. I'm going to be me. I can't be that guy.
And a lot of people can't.
My work is based off tips, man. There's a little bit of falsehood. Falsehood? Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Falseness within some things I do within work. To where moments where I get really angry and I can't speak out on things because I know that, this is corporate America and I'm trying to pay my rent.
There's been people who say things to me that I hardcore disagree with, and I'm literally, it's my job at stake. If I get into an actual, like, an altercation or an argument or whatever with them, like, that doesn't work. That's literally my job. I'm in the service industry. I'm supposed to nod my head and smile and be like, yeah, okay, blah, 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 and just try to ignore them. And
so we've all started to put these hats on. And why did we do that in the first place? Why did everyone start having to put hats on?
Because
we had to appease the people with power.
And
the people with power.
We should never have done that. We should never have done that.
Well, I don't think it's that at all.
There's always going to be people with power, though. Okay, so
I don't think it's that
I'm
at all.
You take this over.
At all. We put on hats. Man, we do this. You're talking about work, and you have to appease the people of power and all this stuff. Like, I'm worried I'm going to get fired if I be my real self. We all put on hats in every instance. We even do it right now amongst each other. You guys don't see 100% of me. You see 95.
Check this out, though.
We're good friends, so you see 95% of me. You don't know about the other 5%. You know what I mean?
The realest person I've ever met in my life is my cousin Bobby, who's an avid listener to this podcast. And I think if there's one person that holds true to them,
Bobby, shout him out.
If there's one person that holds true to themselves and never puts on a hat, and maybe he does in some instances, and he could shed light on that to me. But for instance, and I've noted, and for instance, whenever COVID happened, he works at a paint shop, and he sells paint.
Wait, he sells paint at a paint shop?
Yeah.
No way.
He does not wear a mask. Still to this day has not worn a mask at work. And it's mandated in the county that he lives in.
And he still works there?
He still works there.
Okay, good for him.
He will literally just say "fuck you" to your face.
So that's one of those.
He's
that's
literally
like Jesse was talking about. One of those real motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's Bobby. That's Bobby. He will tell you straight up to your face what the fuck is up, no matter what, at all times, anytime.
I guess.
How did most of society get away from that?
Well, but you can't.
Now, does he hate on people for wearing masks?
I mean, no.
I'd have to ask Bobby. Hey, Bobby, you hate on people for wearing masks?
I don't think he hates on them, but I mean,
just disagrees with them. My point is, people.
You can scroll back about like fucking 15 minutes.
Hold up,
my opinion on that.
You talk about you're talking about these masks and hats as if they're a bad thing, and I don't think that they're a bad thing, Paul.
The hats was a metaphor.
I know.
No, I know that.
The mask is a legitimate thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyways,
The hats are.
I was talking about a mask as in like a layer, as in like. Anyways, you're talking about wearing the different hats, the different personas that you are. Obviously, the more real you are to a degree, the better. But at the same time, you don't have to let every individual person into your life, and there are reasons to wear those hats. It is appropriate for you, Paul, to act differently as the general manager of the location that we work at than you do right here. If you were to not put on that GM hat and act like a GM there, it would work differently. Like, society wouldn't run the same if everybody did that. And that's not necessarily a good thing. There's nothing wrong with putting on those hats.
I think that in the workplace, and again, this is my opinion, I think that, yeah, the hat's necessary. So, I mean, especially for certain positions of how an establishment has to run. But when it's everyday society and you're having conversations with people and you're out and about.
Do you think CEOs just go home and like cry themselves to sleep at night going, why God am I a fucking CEO right now? And they just cry themselves to sleep.
I have no idea.
But then they look out at their like infinity pool and their fucking like 23-year-old wife and they go, oh yeah, that's what
I really want to hit on what you're saying though real quick, Paul. I really do. You're talking about like in everyday life, do we need to do it? I still think we need to. Like, yes, honesty is good, but you still need to wear a hat to a degree. I can be walking down the street or whatever, get out of my car, and I go to the gas station, and I meet someone I've never met before. Happened the other day. I went to a Mexican restaurant. I went to a little place down the road that I've never been to before, and I ran into yeah, it's
really good.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Fucking good.
Anyways, so I went there. I ran into someone I've never met before, and we started talking. I can't even tell you exactly what we were talking about. He was basically talking about other Mexican restaurants, and then he brought up the whole mask thing and whatnot. I put on the hat of I'm going to be a friendly individual person who's going to have a conversation with you. If I didn't wear the hat at all and I completely got rid of that mantra and got rid of that personality and was my true self, I would have said, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you right now. Leave me alone, I'm waiting for food. You can't live in society that way. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
That's who you are as a person, Johnny?
Yes, as a person. No, seriously.
The real question is...
Hold up, let me finish this. At that moment, Paul... That's who I was.
Gotcha.
I was standing there waiting in line for food. I was tired because I just got off work. All I wanted to do was get my food, go home. I didn't really want to talk to this guy about wearing masks and COVID and what Mexican restaurant he likes and all this. I didn't care at the time. But I can't just, like, that's ridiculous. I can't be just like, fuck you, bro. I don't want to talk to you. That's absurd. You have to be.
I feel you, man. I get it, man.
So,
the
yes,
mask is necessary.
we wear the hats everyday life.
Everyone does, yeah.
And that's fine. It's called being personable, whatever.
It's a weird genetic makeup of the
people,
human being.
People like to be liked.
Yeah.
Well, people like to be liked.
Yeah.
People like to be liked.
We went down this road, man, for quite a while. I was curious on some other subjects, honestly.
No, that's fine. I just had to get that out there that it's not a bad thing to wear that hat.
No, I agree. I think it's necessary for sure. I honestly think it's part of our genetic makeup.
Yeah, it's just part of being a human. It's called social interaction.
If you ever notice the loud individuals, no matter on like whatever side it is, they're just super loud, and you're just like the normal day person, and you're just like, fuck, dude, I'm just trying to fucking make enough money to pay for my fucking OnlyFans subscription to this one girl. I think I could fucking fuck.
What a waste
like
of money, by
2
the way,
months
bro.
from now.
Porn is free, man. Porn's been free since like I don't know, bro.
Like,
before I was born,
man. I'm just trying to think of the day-to-day American. I don't think that's what it is at all, but.
We've had this conversation multiple times about education. We had John on a couple weeks ago, and there's just a few questions that I wasn't able to ask, and I don't think I've even asked you guys these type of questions. And
bring them on.
I know we've brought up finance in particular on why that's not taught in school, but I just thought of it on a deeper level, and not even finance, but. I know I did learn how to balance a checkbook in high school or in some form of fashion, but why are you not taught about car insurance, health insurance, mortgages, mortgage payments, what it is to be an adult. I think that that's the biggest question that I have from an educational standpoint, are the things that most average Americans are going to have to deal with. Why are people not taught about that?
Okay, two things. One, I think that we should be taught about a lot of that. And two, I completely understand why we're not. There's too much. There's too much. Right now, Paul, you as an individual right now, teach me how to be an adult. You don't even know all the answers yet. You're still figuring it out. That's part of life. Yes, there's some things that they could get into. Better financial management, better social interaction, better there's things they could get into.
How can you not break it down as easy?
His whole argument is, why the fuck are you learning about some fucking bullshit history from the 1500s?
History is important too. I hate history, and it's important.
History is important. History is important, but why the fuck you learned about fucking 1500s fucking world fucking history, what's happening around the world in the fucking 1500s, and how it fucking influences us, and then you go into fucking science class, and you fucking learn about, you know, how cells fucking...
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
See, there you go. But you don't know what's actually going to be influencing your fucking future if you know how to do things right. Like finance, know what a mortgage is. Dude, fuck a checkbook. I learned how to write a checkbook too.
I did too.
You didn't learn anything about stocks though. They didn't tell you how stocks fucking worked.
I don't care.
Once again, I think it's too much. It's too much to learn because you have to pick.
No.
No, it is because you have to pick and choose.
It's important.
Jesse, you can't teach people about everything.
But hold on.
Trust me, I'm agreeing with you guys. You need to.
For
but
sure.
you literally can't because
But hold
you'll
on,
have
though.
people saying, "Hey, you need to learn how to change a spare tire." Hey,
Oh, sure. No. Change a spare tire.
yeah,
Change a spare tire.
change your own oil.
Fucking how to do like recognize hypothermia. Like
Yep.
fucking like weird
But
or
now-
recognize somebody in a seizure, what to do. CPR.
Yeah.
Why is not CPR just natural? Within like in order for you to graduate high school, you have to understand how to save a fucking human life from CPR.
Jesse, let me.
Right?
Jesse,
That's what I'm talking about.
That
Jesse,
seems pretty fucking important.
it does,
'cause-
right? Let me finish my point. You can't teach everybody everything. Now, move on. No, you also should learn how to change your own air conditioner unit so that, you know, your house doesn't go defunct.
No, I get
you
that.
should also learn this. You should also learn these things. You should learn how to,
I get
clean
that.
out your gutters
Hold on.
and take care of...
Hold on,
you
hold on,
can't
hold on.
teach
now you're
everybody
talking-
everything.
Okay,
But before
so I
you-
guess
Jesse,
now you're talking about
Jesse.
morality, because I think morality, like us, in order for us,
What's
to
important to
advance
you is
in
important
life,
for other people, or is different
I think
for other
finance
people.
is very important. I
What
think
I'm-
finance is very important.
What I'm
to
saying
understand.
with the population of 320 million Americans and the amount of middle class to upper class and even poor people disparity, we all know the number. It's absolutely
it's
astronomical. The
ridiculous.
middle class is shrinking. There's more poor. I think, and I'm curious, I think more along the lines of just specifically mortgages and how that works. Like, I didn't even know what an interest rate was for a mortgage.
But that's interesting to you
No,
because you
Johnny,
own a house.
Johnny, hold on.
this is so important,
you
bro.
could even
Come on.
stop. You could even go into just renting. At least teach me what renting is. Tell me before I go out into the world what it is to rent versus to own. At least give me that basic knowledge. Everyone has to go through that.
So, what is the fundamental backing of all of our society?
What, education? Finance? There's a whole bunch.
It's finance.
I mean, there's a whole bunch.
Well, it's really finance if you get down to it. Because
I mean,
fuck,
that's your opinion.
You have to have money to live. You have to have money to do everything.
You're right. That is my opinion. Because you can be very well educated and make money, and then you can do a lot of things with money,
Yeah.
right?
You can be a
No,
farmer and live
they don't-
happily the
they
rest of
don't
your
teach-
life.
They don't teach money fucking correctly in schools.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I feel like you guys think I'm disagreeing,
No,
and
no,
that's
no,
not
no,
the
no.
case at all.
No, no,
I
I think- I just-
100% agree. What I'm saying is the reason it doesn't happen, the logistics behind it, the reason that it's not taught is because to us, that's all really important stuff, right? To someone else, a whole bunch of other stuff like changing a tire and making sure you can take care of your car and your farm equipment and milk a cow and do all this stuff. Different stuff is important to different fucking people.
But
And you can't teach everything. I think you should. Those are all important things that I agree with, that I think that people should learn because it would be better for society. But what you're talking about, I'm talking about the logistics of it. You expect our government to put 20 people in a room and decide what fucking classes are important and what classes aren't. They'll all disagree. And that's only 20 people. It's
Sure.
more like a board of 800 deciding these things. That's why it doesn't happen. It should happen. Yes, I agree with you guys 100% it should. I'm just playing devil's advocate and the logistics behind it. The reason we're not taught these things is because they don't make the fucking docket.
Does everybody have to handle in history in some way?
It depends who you are.
Okay. Does everybody have to handle in science in some way?
I mean, yes. Science is
I wasn't.
Okay,
I wasn't. Hold on.
Jesse. Does somebody have to deal?
I know where
with
you're
this?
getting at. You're going to say everybody has to deal with
Everybody
money.
has to deal with fucking finance.
Some people will
Teach
never
fucking
Some
finance
people will
correctly.
never have to put a fucking dollar in the stock market their whole life. They were
Sure.
born, they live
Sure.
on a farm, they take care of farm animals, and they marry someone from their hometown. They never move out of their hometown. They live a happy life and own their fucking house because their dad left it to them, whatever. That will literally never affect them. Never. So now it's not important to that person. Just because it was important to you, it wasn't important to that person.
But it's important to a lot of
Yeah,
people.
and a lot of
Yeah.
different things are
No, no,
important
no,
to a
no,
lot
no,
of
no.
fucking
But they
people.
don't. But they don't
Johnny,
teach
Johnny.
that very important. That
Finance-
very important.
finance-
So what's
you
more?
still
You guys don't get it. I'm agreeing that finance is important.
Yeah.
What I'm saying that you're not understanding is that a lot of shit is important. You can't
Sure.
teach everything.
I agree.
But should finance be one of those fundamentals?
In our views, yes. In someone else's
So there we
views, no. That's why it's not taught, because
It was just
add the three of us onto a board of 1,000 people and decide what should be taught in schools. Finance may not make the docket.
and I'm not even talking about finance, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking why it didn't happen.
I'm not saying
make
I
any
want
sense
I'm not
to
saying
me. I don't know.
I'm not saying I want to know about finance. I would have liked in high school to
I would have too.
Of just
I would have too.
understood what a mortgage was. That's all I'm
Me
saying.
too.
You know what I'm saying? Because at one point in time in everyone's lives, you're going to have to deal with either a mortgage or rent for the rest of your life.
I mean, you may not.
Or you just live with someone for the rest
You
of
could
your
just own something. Something could be given to you, and you just own it. And you decide to never move out of that
for
house.
a majority of the people is what I'm saying, John.
I agree with you.
You know, I just would have liked to have known. And it just dawned on me. I'm like, I just wish that we could be taught
I
that.
get that, and I agree 100%.
And I can
wish I
never
would have
go
been
back.
taught that
And
too.
I can never go back,
Like I said,
man, but
I was playing devil's advocate to
No,
get
I
out
get
the
it.
point. I'm just trying to explain
I get it.
why it's probably not taught.
And to me,
It should be taught,
yeah.
yes. I'm explaining the reason why it's probably
For
not.
sure. Yeah, you're exactly right, because the government has their hands in it, and they don't want people to know how to
It's a
handle their
combination of they don't want
finances.
people to know, and you can't teach everything. They have to pick and choose what should be taught, and they decided on science, math, history, whatever.
But is it not common sense? I mean, these people have to go and be a part of life for the next 60 years, so maybe they should know what a mortgage is.
They should probably update the teaching books, right? They
Yeah.
should update some fucking shit. I
For
agree.
sure. So, and moving on from this, and I think that this is very interesting, is and I don't know how much knowledge that you guys have on this, but the infrastructure of America. Why? Okay, so in
And
particular,
like physical infrastructure?
like just infrastructure, like roads, bridges, electrical grid.
Yeah, so physical infrastructure.
So for instance, in the past few days in Los Angeles, like we talked about last week with the shit that's going on there with the mandates, but this is completely different. There's heat waves going through California right now, like massive heat waves, which they've had before, and wildfires again.
It's summer.
So the past 2 days, there have been multiple times. So the first day, there were like 200,000 people without power. And what they did is whenever the electrical grid, due to the heat wave, would hit its peak on how it could perform for all the houses, certain people would lose their power for over an hour.
Okay.
Because the heat wave put a stress on
The electrical grid.
exactly.
I get that.
So they staggered 1,000 people here for an hour, 1,000 people there for an hour. So basically, all night people were going without power.
I got
a certain amount of people were going. So for a total of 200,000 people for 2 consecutive days in a row. My question is, Johnny, and I know that you're a big proponent of this. With how big the military budget is, if we were to shrink the military budget,
Okay.
50%, man, for 5 years, we could probably solve all the infrastructure needs in America. Especially with exponential growth in technology, I think that we truly could, if we were to put more money towards infrastructure. And that was one of the big things that Trump said he was going to do, was change infrastructure. To me, it's just crazy. It's 2020 and people are losing power.
I think that, and this, by the way, this is all opinion and anecdotal. I don't have enough research on this. I'm not going to pretend to be some fucking expert on the matter. I have no fucking clue. This is just going.
I think anyone who watches
knows
Talk
that we're
Junkies-
not experts.
Yes. It's just I'm just curious.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I agree. I think that more taxpayer money should be put into proper infrastructure for a whole bunch of stuff. I think that the world that we live in right now, a lot of it has been privatized. I remember a few years ago, and whoever it was I was talking to, and maybe I am insane, they thought I was insane. But I was talking about how Google Fiber and having gigabit internet connection was the equivalent of the railroad back in the day. If they would have put that all over the U.S., which they haven't. It's only in like Texas, Kansas City, and a couple of other areas now. And someone thought I was insane, and they were like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, you're talking about changing the speed of communication and data transfer between everybody in the United States by 100-fold. And that's not a big deal. That's not a big infrastructure change that should take place. But everything's been privatized, and it costs a lot of money, and now these companies are in charge of doing this stuff. Like, the government did not set up KCP&L's electricity.
Right.
KCP&L does that,
Right.
and they pay for it.
Right.
And we pay for it to them. The government's got nothing to do with it. I mean, the government probably has a little bit to do in it. There's probably like legal requirements here and there for this stuff.
When they get this massive budget for military, the least they could do is invest back into the country with infrastructure, right?
I agree.
Yeah. It's just
and
nuts,
I wish they
man.
would. I wish they would.
I mean, and I don't know if you were here for the podcast, Jesse. I don't know if you remember whenever we talked about the CEO of one of the electrical companies in Los Angeles made like $9 million bonus for an electrical company, like their electrical company, like KCP&L, but in California, had made $9 million in bonuses. Like how is that even a thing? Like that money should go back into the infrastructure to that way
to
these
make
people,
it better.
Yes, to where these people.
Capitalism, bruh.
I know, man. Well,
capitalism,
because it's privatized, like you said.
Yeah, that is literally that's capitalism.
Fuck, man.
It's just so funny when people want to, and I got to be careful with what I say here and how I say it. People act like capitalism is the best end-all, be-all of things, but it also causes issue. There is no perfect form of economy, and to act like no, capitalism probably has it the most right. I would agree with that. It probably has it like it's way up there. But to act like it's perfect and it doesn't have flaws is absurd because of stuff just like that.
Yeah, and when it comes to infrastructure, we've been talking about this since the 90s. Like, why hasn't bridges been rebuilt? Why haven't they been worked on? Why are we still, I'm not talking Green New Deal like AOC. Like, we need to get rid of fossil fuels and gas and oil and all this shit.
That stuff's all important too, though, depending on who you are and what you believe in.
And it is, but it's not going to happen overnight. But what I'm saying is, we could have taken steps to get on a different electrical grid, right? I mean, we're still on the old electrical grid. Like, I guarantee you the town that we live in is on the same electrical system that it's been on for probably 40 or 50 years.
Once again, this comes back to what you just said about capitalism and like the fossil fuels and stuff. Like KCP&L, the majority of the energy that they create, the majority of electricity they create is all from coal, kind of thing. And that's the infrastructure we have set up. That's how they distribute their power. That's how they get their power is coal and all this different stuff. And they're not willing to change that.
No,
because they're privatized.
I'm not saying change it. I'm saying upgrade it at least.
Why? They're making money.
I'm saying because if there's a strain on the system, like for instance,
they still get their money. They still get their money.
For sure. But like in California, whenever there's a strain on the system with wildfires and an exponential amount of heat, and you can't keep up with it, and now people are without power.
Which is awful.
Yeah, which much needed power. I'm saying, what happens if that spreads out here into the middle of the United States here where we live? I'm saying we need to update our technology when it comes to infrastructure. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you 100%. And once again, I'm looking at this from the fact that unfortunately we're privatized, which means when that happens in California and they lose power and all this different stuff, is that CEO at the end of this year still going to get his $9 million bonus?
Yeah.
So why do anything about it? Why upgrade if he's still making his money?
Fuck, man. Capitalism.
Yes, that is the issue. Why upgrade if he's still making his money?
Yeah. Fuck,
if
man.
it costed him money to upgrade and give those people power, if he sacrificed his $9 million bonus to have at least a percentage of those people maintain power.
But I'm saying, like...
No, he didn't do it, though. He will keep his bonus.
I get that.
That's capitalism,
I
and that's
think-
the world we live in.
So, man...
Yeah.
So
You're looking into a dark, negative fucking place.
So there's two ways to go about it. And a lot of our tax money that goes to government, you know, and the amount of money that goes into the military industrial complex, and I know we're in a lot of wars in the Middle East, and there hasn't been a major war. I'm just curious to where all this money's going to.
Dude, we've been in war for all but of like 20 years or something.
No,
in the United
I get
States.
that.
Something ridiculous.
I know that, but the amount
That
of money
number's
that
probably way off,
the amount
sorry.
of money that we're spending on the military, we need to wake up as Americans and we need to be like, hey, that money needs to go somewhere else, and that needs to go to. I don't know. I don't have the answers,
So-
but it needs to. We need to work on infrastructure. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. And once again, you know what would happen is they would, let's say that they now distribute, let's say that specific company, like it goes all over the U.S. KCP&L gets some money. This company gets some money. A place in Wisconsin gets some money. 8 different towns in Florida get money. You get what I'm saying? It's equally distributed, right? Mm-hmm. So now that the company in California, they upgrade some infrastructure. Let's say they get $8 million. You know what happens? They spend $5 million of it to upgrade infrastructure. The other $3 million goes to the CEO. So now he gets a $12 million bonus.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's got to be stipulations
So that's
on it, but.
But I guess...
I mean, at that point, if there's no stipulation and they're at least upgrading it, I'm happy with that. I mean, they're already getting bonuses. I'm saying we need to do something to make what makes America go better.
Make America great again.
Yeah. We're at the top of the hour, man.
Was it that quick, man?
It was.
I mean, you walked out for a lot of it.
Man,
Time
I had to piss. I
Time
had to piss
flies,
a
man,
lot.
when
I
you're
had to
hitting it
piss a
hard.
lot.
Time flies when you're hitting it hard. Some good conversation, man, tonight. Very important conversations that people need to start having with
I
each
wish we
other.
had more answers. I wish that life was easier.
I think everyone wishes that. But I think if we all understand morality.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
You know what I'm saying, man.
Good luck with that.
People need to stop watching the news. They need to stop turning their TVs off. And I'm not telling you what to do. I think that would just help.
Watch
That's
the
all
news.
I'm saying. That's
Watch
all I'm
the
saying.
news.
Just don't watch it. Turn the TV off, man. It's probably
Turn
been
the TV on.
It's been the best thing for me is not watching that shit.
I literally had a conversation while I was on the phone with my dad earlier. I was talking about it because he was talking about like Fox News and all this different stuff, and I was trying to explain to him. I was like, "Hey, Dad, watch Fox News." Or by the way, I'm not calling out Fox News. I mean literally any major news. It doesn't matter. Liberal, Republican, like conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, blue, red, doesn't matter. Watch any news source you want, any major media outlet you want, but know that it's entertainment. Know that there should be no difference between watching Fox News and watching The Dark Knight Rises. Like they're both there for your entertainment and nothing else.
And it's always been that way. But it's even worse and it's even more entertainment due to the fact, again, the Smith-Month Act was basically repealed in 2012, which means that they can project propaganda to people.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody, they can...
It was illegal to do that before 2011.
You think that's going to stop the government?
I'm
Something
just saying,
being illegal by the government's going to stop the government?
What I'm saying, no, I'm saying you could technically sue before 2011. You could sue Fox News or CNN if they were trying to give you propaganda, but now it's free flow of propaganda, man.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Just accept that what you watch isn't always what you... Even us. I mean, literally, like, take everything with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Multiple sources. That's what I've always said on here. You should never take all your information from one source. If you hear us talk about something, anything out of this entire podcast, you focus in on, you're like, man, that 3 minutes was really interesting, and I want to look more into that. Look at 20 other sources.
Yeah.
Don't just take our word, and don't just take the next person's word. Look at 20 different things. And the same with Fox News. You read an article on Fox News website, look at fucking 20 other sources, and then come up with your own assessment.
Your own Jushka bin, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A very long and thought out and thorough podcast from Johnny, Jesse, and Paul tonight, man.
I mean, we prepped for like how many days, Paul?
At least
this
like
one.
-6.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah, 100% solid, man.
thought it was solid. I
I
enjoyed
liked it. I liked every minute of it.
Appreciate you guys.
It's a route that we've never been down. It's something that we really never shed light on. And I think just having the discussion and bringing that into people's minds that, hey man, this is something that's going on. I think that's big.
It is something that's going on.
What the fuck, Jesse?
Hey man. Fuck.
Hey man.
Fuck.
Again.
Edit that out.
Again, no, I'm not gonna edit it out. Again,
Right, leave it.
To all our hardcore
Super leave
subscribers, man. All our hardcore subscribers, and man, I know there's like 20.
What
of
is a
you.
hardcore subscriber? Is there a separate button for them? I'm
Dude,
just curious,
that'd be dope.
man.
Don't give YouTube ideas.
It's not even subscribe. It's like the hardcore subscribe. It's like a secret link
Hey,
down at the
if
bottom.
There's a Four Loco next to it. A line of cocaine.
fucking hardcore subscribe.
If
to
you were
Talk Junkies,
if you were more involved with the YouTube studio page and you saw the comments and Johnny knows what I'm talking
yeah,
about, man. Like I said, email me talkjunkieskc@gmail.com.
Change it. Not change it. I'll talk to you later. It's got nothing. That email's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mean it that way. Your email should be different from the one that you use to log into your account.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Completely different.
Cool.
Yeah. Believe me. So do that. Hit the like button. Honestly, that's awesome when you guys do that. Appreciate that muchly. Muchly's not a word, but I really appreciate it muchly.
Paul, let me ask you this: if there was
call him
half the
Paulin.
subscribers, if there was half the subscribers we'd had right now, would you still be doing this?
Yes.
Me too.
Me too.
That's what matters.
Yeah. I won't stop
So
doing this,
we
man.
appreciate the subscribers, but I mean, we're in it for the long haul, man.
We are.
No
Y'all
matter
got to
what.
deal with us. We're gonna be on the internet for a while because we're gonna keep doing this every fucking
One way or
Sunday.
another.
So get fucking used to it.
Until
I
we lose
guess.
power.
I'm about
Yeah,
to have
get fucking used to it.
I'm about to have
We're
more
gonna
time
be
on my
here.
hands too, man. So
Oh God, Paul with hands
And time.
in
Yeah.
time.
share
Time on his hands. I said that wrong.
So again,
Oh man, Paul with hands.
smash the like button. Share the shit out of this video to your friends, your mothers, your cousins, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, and even other counties. Share it with all of those people. To all our junkies out there,
Stay fly and ring the bell.